So good morning, family. My name is Kathy Rigney. As Reverend, I'm so proud of Reverend Hebanjo. You know, what he did in Indiana, and then he came to Chicago. And Dr. Ashil came yesterday and gave probably one of the best speeches I have ever heard in my life. So Africa is shining here in America, and I think we need Africa. Don't you think so? We need Africa. Anyway, my name's Kathy Rigney. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. And although I've been working in Africa as a missionary since 1975, in April of 2025, our beloved Holy Mother Han, our true mother, officially told me to come back to America and to retire, and told me to focus on writing my autobiography. So I'm back home in St. Louis, where my family is, and trying to write that autobiography, but with our true mother in that detention center, it's hard to think about anything else but how mother can be freed from that situation and how God can be liberated and not watch mother suffer in that detention cell every day. So I'm trying my best to focus on what mother told me to do. I went to that Seoul detention center in Gyeonggi-do, and my heart was breaking as I looked around and saw the circumstances that God's only begotten daughter is having to endure. You know, in Africa, mother came, and this is something I will speak about this morning. In 2018 and 29, mother came 8 times to Africa. And during that period, mother met many, 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 many VIPs. And it wasn't just that mother met them, but they fell in love with our true mother. That phrase, Mother of Peace, actually originated in Africa. That first event that took place in Senegal in 2018, January 18th. Today is the 8-year anniversary of that event in Senegal, in Dakar. And at that time, our true mother came and met the head of state, and I'll be explaining that a little bit more in detail. But he proclaimed, "You are truly the mother of peace." And from that day, mother won the heart of Africa. She liberated Africa. She went to the island where the slaves were shipped off around the world, and she went there and she made a special prayer to liberate the heart of Africa, to liberate the heart of all those people whose lives were taken from them, and who were brought also alive, some of them, to America and to the rest of the world as slaves. And mother brought their heart to heaven and gave them the opportunity to be freed of that feeling of resentment and be able to be happy in the spiritual world. So let me start reading, or I'm going to talk for a long time. Today, if you permit me, I would like to take this opportunity to share with all of you about a very special time in the Providence, centering on our Holy Mother Han and when she came to Africa. By the way, today, as I mentioned, is January 18th, and it's the 8th anniversary of the day that True Mother gave a very special speech and co-hosted a very special summit in the capital of the nation of Senegal, Dakar. And this based on the conditions that Mother made in 2018 and 2019. In 2020, Mother was able to proclaim the complete and victorious and firm settlement of Chonilguk. As you are all aware, after our true father's ascension into heaven in 2012, our Holy Mother Han, our precious true mother, promised our true father and also promised our heavenly parent that she personally would take responsibility to make the spiritual conditions necessary to restore 7 nations, 7 religions, and a continent, something that should have been done while our true father was still physically alive with us on this earth. So in 2017, our Holy Mother Han, our true mother, sent leaders from our international headquarters to Africa. And she held a meeting. She didn't come, but she held them told them to hold this meeting with all of our African leaders. They came from every nation. We were in Zambia. Reverend Banju's, no, he's from DR Congo, but anyway, he was in Zambia. And they explained how we should be working from now on and asked us to begin to organize an important African summit whereby our Holy Mother Han would come to proclaim the victory of our true parents and explain the important mission worldwide of God's only begotten daughter to the entire continent of Africa. At that time, myself, I was holding the position of UPF chairperson for Africa, as well as Chonwi One chair for the continent. And I was asked by international headquarters to suggest some nations where such an event could be held. Excuse me. After consulting with our African leaders and discussing which nation might be appropriate to begin such an important undertaking by our true mother, we sent a report to Mother suggesting 3 different African nations. True Mother received those reports, and after looking and through her prayer and God's direction to her, True Mother chose the nation of Senegal, the capital of Senegal, which is Dakar, to begin this important condition. This was really a big surprise to all of us, since Senegal is a nation which is 93% Muslim, only 3% Christian. You know, there's a reason I'm sharing these with you, and it directly relates, I feel, to what our sister said about the importance of the American mission and what Mother taught us about how to conduct victorious events that can lead to a real restoration on a national level. So True Mother directed us, after she chose Senegal, to meet the president of the nation so that the president himself would co-host this event together with True Mother. She also instructed us to invite leaders from all walks of society, not just political leaders, not just religious leaders. Mother said, invite the political leaders, invite all of the religious leaders, both the Muslims, they were many, and even some of the Christian, they were Catholic, civic leaders, youth leaders, women leaders, political leaders, and not just from Senegal, but bring them from all over the continent of Africa. And let them be there when I give this historic speech. And she emphasized that we should include every single nation, 49 nations from the continent of Africa. So can you imagine, in Africa, we hardly ever received true parents. The very first time true parents came, it was True Mother, was in 1993, after being there since 1975. And the father came then with Mother together in 1995. But after that, it wasn't until the year 2006 and 2011. Otherwise, our African members never had an opportunity to meet with true parents. And they have a lot of difficulty to obtain visas to America for an event or to Korea for an event. So this was a very special occasion that our mother called everyone from the continent of Africa to come to Senegal for this historical meeting. We followed True Mother's direction 100%. We finally met the president of Senegal, who agreed immediately when we met him to co-host this event. Not only did he co-host it, he offered everything to us for free. He gave us the center, the conference center, which was brand new and cost almost $1 million a day to rent. He gave it to us for 4 days for free. An unimaginable support for our True Mother's mission. We met almost all the religious leaders of the nation during the next few months which followed. We met also all the civic leaders and NGO leaders, and for months we did exactly with so much determination and desperation, really, to fulfill what our mother asked us to do, because Mother was coming to Africa. This was such a special moment. Then finally, on the 16th of January, (2018), our mother arrived in Dakar, and she began to ready herself for this important summit taking place on January the 18th. We had worked hard, and hand in hand with young second-generation members who came from Europe, sent by Mike Balcom at that time, and other second-gen who came from all over the world, together with our own African leaders and second-gen who worked so diligently to fulfill the conditions necessary to make this event a success. And finally, our mother appeared, received by the highest level authorities of the country at the airport and taken directly to her hotel, which was also paid for by the president of Senegal. As Yonanim explained in a speech which she gave in the year 2020, she said, and I quote Yonanim's words, "True Mother has been victorious over the 7-year cosmic Canaan course that followed the foundation day of Cheonilguk in 2013. Until 2020, Mother went those 7 years. In order to keep her promise to True Father, she blazed a trail to a future we had been unable ourselves to see. She was ultimately victorious and declared finally the firm settlement of Cheonilguk in the year 2020. The first step upon True Mother's arrival in Africa, in Dakar, Senegal, was for Mother to meet the president of the country, who was co-hosting the summit together with her. This would have been their first encounter with President Macky Sall. It was scheduled for the afternoon of January 17th. The summit was taking place the next morning, January the 18th, a 3-day summit. So Mother was preparing, and she got everything ready, and she made sure everybody was in place. And then we went to the presidential palace in downtown Dakar, Senegal. Mother had a police escort. She had everything given by the Senegalese government. Sometimes people think, oh, they probably gave them. Not 1 cent was given to Senegal. Senegal gave everything to Mother. You're going to find out exactly why that happened in a couple minutes. So the president wanted to be ready to give his own keynote speech together with True Mother at the event, knowing that there was 1,500 very high-level participants from all across the African continent joining together, and they were going to help he wanted to help to introduce God's only begotten daughter to Shin Africa, heavenly Africa. So there are 3 points this morning that I want to share with all of you, brothers and sisters, which were very essential and important to True Mother's victory in Africa in the year 2018 and 2019, leading up to the year 2020, where she proclaimed the victorious settlement of Cheonilguk. This is the first point. There are 3. I accompanied our True Mother to the presidential palace, where we had an appointment, where the head of state was waiting for Mother to come. I have to explain something. I had been working with a team of brothers and sisters to meet the president and arrange this event. But I had done that in many different countries, tried to meet the head of state, tried to tell them and witness about True Parents, or at least try to organize some kind of an event. But my attitude when I go to meet a head of state, if I'm able to get an appointment or if I'm able to penetrate all of the security around them, my attitude always is I flatter them. Mr. President, you're such a wonderful president. We just love all of the work that you're doing, because I'm trying to convince them that, they have to meet True Parents. And therefore, I'm trying to open the door. This is my fallen world mentality, maybe, flatter them, make them happy. And that's what I always did, and they seem to like it. They did. And so I always told them that what they're doing in their country is fantastic. This was my strategy to prepare an event on this level. Then the moment came that True Mother came to the presidential palace. And the president was waiting at the door to receive our mother into his office, or actually it was his living room. And so he was waiting there, and as soon as we entered the presidential palace, the president came forward, he shook True Mother's hand, he warmly greeted our True Mother, and he asked her to sit down, and then he said, can you please show the slides? And the first one says Dakar, Senegal. And this picture, no, that one, go back, that one, please leave that. This was the living room where that's the president of Senegal, and that's True Mother sitting right next to him, and the translator who speaks perfect French and English and Korean was translating. So the president said to Mother, "Oh, is everything okay? Dr. Han, is your hotel okay? Are you happy here?" And Mother said, "Your Excellency, can I speak?" He said, "Yes, of course." I thought, oh, okay. I was always worried, something's going to happen. Maybe they'll cancel the summit the next day. And True Mother began to speak. And True Mother spoke for 40 minutes. She spoke about an entire overview of human history, starting with Adam and Eve and ending with the birth of God's only begotten daughter. 40 minutes. Mother didn't stop one time. Mother wasn't worried about the next day. Mother was worried about educating her son, President Macky Sall, and the entire nation of Senegal and other heads of state who were gathering in order to make sure they understood God's providence. She didn't want to miss that opportunity. That's who our mother is, and that's who we are not. Mother knows exactly what God wants, and Mother didn't worry and was not fearful of anything. She gave that testimony very clearly, very beautifully, very warmly. The head of state was watching, and after 10 or 15 minutes, he started to look around, and he saw everybody was really focused on Mother. You can see we are all listening to what Mother is saying. That's an actual photo of that moment. And then finally, he himself became very intent listening to her explanation of how God has been working since Adam and Eve's fall to bring about today what is happening in the world. And him, as the president of a nation, has a great responsibility to bring that nation into God's kingdom. This went on for 40 minutes. And at the end, our True Mother, she didn't make a simple speech. She didn't come to Africa to just simply speak nice words to 1,500 people in the Dakar summit. Mother didn't come to make them happy. Mother came to Senegal. She came to Africa to share God's message, God's words, God's heart. Mother was determined that God's message should be given to the people, to the world. And Mother wanted so much that our Heavenly Parent's heart could be comforted by seeing the reaction of the people to her as God's only begotten daughter. So she was intent on educating her son. And the president needed to know what God wants, what God needs, and what God is expecting him as the head of state of that nation. Mother said it very clearly. I was a bit worried, but I'm ashamed to say, I was worried. Oh gosh, I hope everything's going to be okay for tomorrow. But I was enthralled by Mother's words, and I believe 100% that Mother's doing absolutely what God wants. So I allowed myself to be taken into that heart and that spirit. As Mother continued speaking, the president became so interested, listening intently about Mother's explanation of human history. And finally, as she ended her speech, after 40 minutes, the president said, "Mother, may I call you Mother Moon? Not Dr. Han. May I call you Mother Moon? You are truly the mother of peace. I want to deeply thank you," he said, "for so much sharing all this time. I understood through your explanation, and I truly believe that peace can never be obtained in this world without putting God first, without putting God, our Creator, at the center of all of our lives. And Mother Moon, you have so beautifully brought God into our midst today, and I believe you will bring God to the summit tomorrow and make the first step towards peace on the African continent. This gives me the confidence, Mother Moon," he said, "that tomorrow's event will bring us together in unity and to seek the world of peace that we are all longing for." Our True Mother never came bearing gifts. She did give him some ginseng. That's all that she gave him. She didn't try to ask for any favors. She tried to convince him that he needs to lead his nation so that the nation is centering upon God. She told anyone that would listen, put God first in everything that we do, and then we can realize that we are all brothers and sisters and we can build a peaceful world together. She emphasized that without God, this is not possible. Peace can never come without God, recognizing God as our creator and understanding, therefore, that we are all brothers and sisters. Therefore, we have to find a way to get along and build peace. Without true parents also to bring us together and center our lives on God, peace can never be realized in the world. This was a very big surprise to the president. And he really, really, really was won over. You know, we met him about 4 years later. He helped us meet a bunch of other presidents in Africa. And he said, I don't know why Mother Moon loves me so much, but I constantly feel her love. How the first thing they all say to it, how is Mother Moon? How is she? Is she okay? And now that Mother Moon is in the detention center, you have no idea. You know, did you hear Prophet Radebe's speech when he went to Korea? He said, be careful, Korea. Otherwise, if you don't know how to protect Mother Moon, we're going to bring her to Africa because we're going to protect her in Africa. Of course, you know, he doesn't really mean we're going to take her out of Korea, but what he means is, you know, he's appalled by the fact that Mother is in that detention center, and they all are. They are not influenced at all by what is happening in Korea in a negative sense. They are only influenced by the fact that they would like to do anything they possibly can to help liberate our true mother from that situation. So this was the first incident that I really learned, what am I doing, you know, by going around and trying to make these people happy and not sharing God's message with them. You know, I worked really hard, I really did. All of us did. All of my leaders there in Africa, we worked really hard. But we're missing the point. It's not enough to work hard. You have to work hard and you have to give the right elements for there to be really victory. Mother brought that victory, only Mother. She brought that victory. Mother came to 8 different African nations during this important campaign in 2018 and 2019. Senegal was the first one, then she went to Zimbabwe, into Cape Town, South Africa, then to Johannesburg, South Africa, some months later, Sao Tome and Principe, Niger Republic, Tanzania, and then once again back to Johannesburg in South Africa over a period of about 20 months. Mother did all of that. During this 2-year period, I had many deep experiences with our mother, but 2 more experiences besides the one I just shared together with you has shaped my life, have really changed my life. You know, 50 years, but actually it's within that time period when I met Mother directly in Africa that part of me really, really, really changed based upon what Mother taught me during that time period. I'd like to share the other 2 experiences also today. This has kept my heart pounding in my ears, and as I face my own portion of responsibility every day. You know, Mother says, unite, work hard, and show the world who we are. And that's what we have to do today in order to liberate our mother from that prison. After the Senegal encounter in Johannesburg in 2019 June, a new summit was being held. But this time it wasn't just a summit like it was in Senegal, but a summit and a blessing. Our team of African leaders, Adama Doumbia, Bakary Camara, Pater Nzenzu, they all worked really, really hard once again. But along came Prophet Mboni Samuel Radebe. I'm sure you've heard of him. Prophet Radebe is one of Mother's greatest sons on the continent of Africa. He contributed immensely to the tens of thousands of couples. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you go back on the slide, the one before? That's the summit that actually took place with 1,500 attendees in Senegal. Mother spoke and the president of Senegal spoke, and there were all 49 nations of Africa at that time were represented. Now, the next event that I'm explaining is the next slide, which is in Johannesburg in June of 2019 in South Africa. So that was True Mother giving her speech at the summit. And at that time, she named President Goodluck Jonathan, the former head of state of Nigeria, a nation of over 240 million people, the 8th largest nation in the world. That president, he loves Mother with all of his heart and soul. When he heard Mother was coming to Nigeria in 2006, and we didn't have money to pay for her speech and everything that needed to be done, when he heard that, then he said, oh, hold on a minute. Evelyn Winter and I were together. He went out of the room and he came back and he handed us $70,000 to pay for the entire event when Mother gave her speech in 2006. Oh, he loves Mother. He received the blessing with his wife during that speech in 2006. So when he heard Mother was holding this summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, he said, let me bring the political leaders. He brought the political leaders, the civic leaders, and all of the other political leaders from other nations to Johannesburg to participate in this summit. So there was first Prophet Radebe. He brought about 50,000 couples to the event at Orlando Stadium in Johannesburg. Now, I have a reason for emphasizing what Prophet Radebe did and what President Goodluck Jonathan did in Johannesburg in 2019. President Goodluck Jonathan contributed with all of his heart and soul by bringing political and civic leaders to the summit. Prophet Radebe brought tens of thousands, including all the couples from his own organization, from his own church, to Orlando Stadium, a very famous stadium in Johannesburg. It was 2 days of truly victorious events. So because of this time, Mother was so happy. She was so pleased with President Goodluck Jonathan's determination. She was absolutely so divinely happy with Prophet Radebe and his public proclamation of Mother being God's only begotten daughter. And so, you know, it came time to say goodbye to True Mother at the end of these two events in Johannesburg in 2019. And so I was there together with the Continental Director of Africa at that time, whose name was Reverend Bakary Kamara. And so we knew that Mother would call us to give a report about the event that took place. And we were confident that when Mother called us for the meeting the next morning, that it would be a nice meeting, right? Because everything went really well. Everything was perfect, you know? And everything Mother wanted to accomplish would be accomplished. So sometimes you're worried, you know, maybe it didn't go so well, maybe true parents won't be so happy with you. But in this case, we were confident this is going to be a great breakfast meeting. Well, this was not the case. True Mother invited Bakary and I to breakfast before she had to depart back to Korea. When she joined us at the breakfast table, she turned to me and she said, Kathy, tell me, how long have we known President Goodluck Jonathan? I explained that we had met President Goodluck Jonathan in 1993 when True Mother was on her way to come to give her, in 2006 when True Mother was coming to give her speech in Nigeria. She said, okay, 2006, and it's 2019, so that's 13 years, right, Kathy? I said, yes, Mother. And she said, Bakary, tell me, how long have we known Prophet Mboni Radebe? And Bakary said, oh, we met him in 2010. We invited him to Korea for one of our church events, and we've been involved with him ever since. She said, okay, 2010, and now today is 2019. That's 9 years, right? Bakary said, yes, Mother. And she said, it's so long ago. Why is it that only today these people could bring their offering in front of the altar of God through true parents? If you had done a better job of educating and taking care of these important VIPs, these righteous people that I told you would meet, who want to offer now their own foundation to our heavenly parents through true parents. If you had taken care of them, we could have held this event while Father was still alive on the earth. Father needed to be here. I wanted Father to be able to experience this. Father needed to receive that victory. Father needed to bring that victory to God. So you didn't do a good job because you didn't educate them well enough, as quickly as you should have. So I'm happy about this victory, but I'm not just sitting there in pig happiness because I'm regretting in front of Father that this event didn't take place while he was still alive on the earth. I mean, brothers and sisters, can you imagine how we felt? Can you imagine the kind of education that was? We thought, oh gosh, we brought the head of state, you know. Woo, we brought 50,000 couples. But Mother was worried. Why didn't this happen when Father was still alive? She was regretting in front of Father and trying her best to fulfill these conditions now and offer them to our Heavenly Parent and our true Father in the spiritual world. So Mother said, please repent. Don't only rejoice. And think about how to do your work so that heaven's timeline can always be accomplished in the proper way. Bakri and I cried in front of Mother. We shed tears of repentance, realizing keenly how long we have all been disappointing heaven. Thinking of our true Father departing this world without being able to harvest the offerings of these VIPs was heartbreaking to us. You can believe that this changed our perspective immediately. And this was the second most important point that I learned during Mother's time in Africa. The third occasion, the final one, was these are the important ones. There were many. Was in September of 2019. You've all heard of the providence of Sao Tome and Principe and the victory that Mother proclaimed as Sao Tome being the first Toniogook nation. Well, we have been working hard and preparing in the nation of Sao Tome and Principe the same process of events that happened in the other nations. We prepared the summit, we prepared the blessing, and we made sure that the head of state was going to co-host the event, and all civic, political, and religious leaders would be taking part, not only taking part, coming and hearing, but actually participating and organizing the entire event. It was well done in many ways. Everything was very intense because true Mother is meticulous. She is meticulous about how things should be done. I'm sorry, we didn't show the picture of the blessing in Johannesburg, did we? Can you go back to that's a blessing. Look at that stadium, brothers and sisters. It was full. Prophet Radebe brought all of those people. They all received a pre-blessing before the blessing. In other words, they received holy wine before they actually went to that stadium through Prophet Radebe's own organization. You know, Mother told us, even today, Mother says, meet the righteous people. They are out there in society. They're all prepared. But it's not enough just to meet them, maybe help them come to Sunday service. We have to educate them. We have to help them to accomplish their portion of responsibility. And this was Prophet Radebe. Mother is the one who asked Prophet Radebe to do this. And these people came to the stadium. It was packed full. Now we move on to Sao Tome and Principe. Everything was intense because Mother is meticulous. Every small detail of everything that happened in the summit, in the blessing, Mother was aware of, and Mother gave direction of how it needed to be done. It wasn't just, oh, let's make a nice, we'll go to a hotel, they'll prepare nice food, and we'll just sit there and have a good event. No, every little detail, Mother is considering how it should be done so that it can be made as an offering to heaven, that these people's offering can be received by God. Mother invested everything. Her feet, I was there with Mother. I traveled all around the continent during these 2 years. Her feet were just swollen like that. Her legs were hard as rock. Mother's was full of blisters on her feet. She never complained, but, we had to buy certain things for Mother to be taken care of. And we witnessed that. Mother was really putting her life on the line because she made that promise to Father. Father, don't worry, you're leaving, but I'm going to make sure that this condition is done. And on that foundation, Mother was able to proclaim the firm settlement of Toniogook in 2020. So the head of state was there, the prime minister was there, the president of the National Assembly, all the religious leaders, Protestant, Catholic, and Muslim, they were all there. The civic leaders came, VIPs came. Prophet Radebe came from South Africa. Goodluck Jonathan brought 21 former heads of state from all over Africa to that event in Sao Tome. They all came. We finished the summit successfully. That's what the picture that you're seeing right there now. And the next day, we were holding the blessing. Can you change the, okay. This blessing was very special because it was actually held in the National Assembly. All the couples had been pre-blessed. Sao Tome is a Christian nation, so in that case, it was a little bit easier to prepare the couples for the blessing. But they had all been pre-blessed. They had all received education. They had received the holy wine. And they came and they were waiting to receive the blessing in the National Assembly with the head of state, the prime minister, the president of the National Assembly, and all government officials attending. Everything was set. There were 1,000 couples. They had all been prepared. And they were all waiting, really impatiently to receive Mother's blessing. They were waiting for Mother to come onto the stage. Our true mother came to the event. She went to the green room. In the green room was the head of state and the prime minister and other really high-level VIPs, only about 20 people in the green room. So Mother was sitting there with her small entourage and the other VIPs, and the head of state was there. And everything was ready to go. And the couples were in their place. They were anxious, they were singing, they were trying to create the atmosphere. Everything, we were all waiting, and Mother came, and the president was there so we could begin. But suddenly, there was a problem. Who should enter the stage last? Should it be True Mother, the officiator of the blessing, official representative of God right there, or the head of state? Because according to state protocol, the president has to be the last person to enter. According to our true mother, representing our heavenly parent and our true parents, Mother should be the last to enter. So the two protocol teams began a very intense discussion. The protocol, the head of state was saying, we should leave. I don't think we should participate. Don't worry. You can go ahead with your event, but I think the president should leave. We don't want to have this kind of problem. There was a lot of discussion going on. Prophet Radebe, he went on the stage and he was kind of helping the couples to wait, to be patient, and to sing songs to keep the atmosphere alive. And the protocols were discussion. And finally, the president stood up and said, no, Mother Moon should go last. It's okay. Mother Moon should go last. So they walked to the end of the stage. He entered. Mother came after him. He took Mother's hand. He held it up in front of everyone. And then the blessing took place by our true Mother. This was very, very, very serious and arduous discussions, brothers and sisters. And, I felt like dying. I wanted to disappear if possible. I didn't know how to handle this kind of discussion. Oh gosh, you've invested so much for so long, and then is it going to be ruined by this one situation? I would have just said, it's okay, maybe you go together, or but no, heaven has its own laws and rules. It was a very huge providential victory when the president said Mother should go last. And the protocol people had to obey what the head of state said. And because all the conditions demanded by heaven were met, True Mother finally proclaimed the event of Sao Tome and Principe as the first conditionally victorious Chonyogo nation in the world. Now, the event was over. It was the evening. Mother's plane was leaving that very night. Okay, there were very few flights to Sao Tome and Principe, and so her plane was leaving that evening. So she had to eat quickly and then go to the airport, which is a little bit far away. So Bakri, the continental director, and we knew we would be called by Mother to have the final meeting report before Mother left. Again, we were confident this was going to be a really good meeting because the victory was won, right, in the last minute. I don't know, we never learned our lesson, but we were very confident. And then we came to dinner. Mother invited us, but hélas, our true mother opened the door to her suite and came to the table, and she was very obviously very distressed. And she sat down, and she immediately started scolding Bakri and me, severely. She said, "You were only concerned about making your VIPs happy, and you were less concerned about making God happy. You were less concerned about what were the conditions necessary for this victory to be accomplished." Bakri and I were being very diplomatic. We were good at that. We were good at being diplomatic. But we weren't good at understanding what heaven wants and how to accomplish that. Only Mother was good at that. Anyway, but we were just not having that kind of serious heart as Mother had. Mother doesn't go to a nation, hold a little event and say, "Oh, okay, it was a great victory." No. What happens behind the scenes is very seriously controlled by Father and Mother. And they give the conditions based on what God is asking. And then we have to accomplish that, bringing heaven's desire and the earth's reality together in order to bring the victory. Bakri and I seen how upset Mother was, and understanding the truth that she explained to us, we burst into tears. Bakri was crying so loud, none of us could think. He was sobbing. He was sobbing. I was also sobbing. We realized our very internal, deep mistake. We cried so much we couldn't eat. Mother tried to stop us. She said, "Okay, here, Kathy, try this kimchi. They made it especially for me, and I think you'll like it. This is a special kind. Bakri, how about you? Why don't you try a little bit more rice?" Mother kept trying to, to comfort us in a way through saying things like that, trying to take care of us. But we couldn't stop crying. I mean, loudly crying for a long, long time. Then finally, Mother said, "My children, please stop crying. Please stop crying." Yeah, this was a really great victory. We are finally able to proclaim this nation for Chonuguk. But you must realize in your future mission that we have to find the righteous people that God has prepared. You found them. In this world, they are everywhere. And then we must educate them. We must prepare them to fulfill their mission. So don't stop at just meeting them and making friends with them and becoming somebody they like. But you have to find the way to bring them to God. Educate them properly so they can bring their offering to the altar of God in the proper way. But stop crying, please. But we didn't stop crying. And Mother stood up. It was time. She had to leave. She had to go to the airport. The airplane was leaving. And finally she stood up, and then she started to walk out, and she turned around. She said, "Kathy, come here." So I stood up, and I went over to Mother. Mother just embraced me, strongly. And then she said, "Bakri, come here." And she did the same to Bakri. "Please realize," she said, "stop crying, but realize, celebrate this victory. It's historic, but please realize that heaven has a timeline. And we must meet heaven's timeline, not our own desires, not our own image of what must take place. We have to continue to move forward toward the goal of restoring this world back to our heavenly parent, but we have to do it according to God's plan. We can't create our own plan." So, those are the three instances that happened that really shook me to the very core of my being. There were many wonderful times with Mother, but those are the most special times with Mother, because I saw the authority of God really expressing itself through Mother. Mother is absolutely aligned with the will of God. She understands what God wants, what our true Father wanted to accomplish on this earth. But now I come back to America, I miss Africa a lot, but I also see my mother in jail in Korea, and I hear about what's going on in Japan. And so for me, America is really, really important. Is there any other nation where we value religious freedom like Americans do? I don't know that nation. And not a nation truly that has the power that America has. This nation is incredibly powerful worldwide, but cherishes religious freedom. So even though I miss Africa, I realize, Mother even told Robert Kittle and I when we met her the last time when she told us we should retire, Robert said, gee, Mother, I'll write my autobiography like you said, but I'm not sure I can retire. And Mother said, hey, I never said you should stop working. You're going to America, and America is very, very, very important in God's providence. But this has become so much more clear in my mind after seeing what's taking place in Korea. America, I had listened to President Dunkley, so inspired by his speech. We have to move forward. Americans have to move forward because America, all across this country are righteous people that God has prepared. We have to find them, and we have to bring them to make their offering. Not just bring them to Sunday service, but we should bring them to Sunday service too. But we need to actually help them to bring their offering to God and make America stand out in front of the world to stop this religious persecution that's trying to destroy God's providence. As Korea and Japan walk down such a difficult path at this moment, America has to rise up. America has to give hope to this world and bring God's truth while being the nation where religious freedom is honored and sacred. True parents have loved and educated America for 40 years. One American sister, her name is Lisa Take, sent to me a few days ago a quote from one of True Mother's speeches that she gave in America in 2016. Let me read that very short speech to you. Mother said, regarding American elder members who are as good as Korea's longtime members and who have been active since 1974, when the American Providence officially began and was being carried out in 50 states. Mother continues, Mother is speaking. Mother said, I felt during my time in America that the hearts of these elder American members are deeper than some of our Korean elder members. They are certain of the difference between right and wrong. Korean people are aware of what is right and what is wrong, but they consider whether or not they will do it. They weigh upon the situation and they look at all the different sides before they decide to do what direction they will take. President Gi-hoon Kim, mother's continuing to speak, President Gi-hoon Kim has often told me that our American members are every bit as good as our Korean members and have even deeper hearts. Yet this time, mother's continuing to speak, yet this time I personally feel it. The world of heart is one world. However, each person has to strive to be deeper and broader. And in light of this, I am asking the Korean members themselves to stir themselves to action. Do you understand? America has to shine. Brothers and sisters, you are in America, centering on President Dunkley, centering on your city leaders, your state leaders, your sub-regional directors. You know, you have the opportunity to alleviate mothers' suffering like nobody else. You have the opportunity to liberate God like no other nation has. So we're sending our best to you from Africa. You've got one of them right here in Chicago. Yeah, it's true. Amazing. I listen to his sermons every Sunday. I love his sermons. Yeah. And Africa is sending you, but Africa, I mean, the world has sent you. From Japan, from Korea, from Europe, from Asia. Excuse me. So now is the time. You have to find the prepared, righteous people and bring them so that America will shine, like President Dunkley is pushing us to do, so that America can shine brightly and overcome this situation where Satan is trying to destroy God's providence. So I wanted to share these different situations that happen in Africa, because I really feel that we have to do it. We can't just witness. We have to. Mother said to me one time, Kathy, go do this, or find this and that person. Can you do that? I said, yes, Mother, I would do my best. Mother said, no, Kathy, that's not enough. You have to put your life on the line. Only when you put your life on the line will what you do be enough to bring the victory for God, because this world will not be easily taken out of the hands of Satan and given to God without us putting our lives on the line. So, brothers and sisters, I'm grateful to be able to speak today. I'm sorry to speak so long, but I really, really, really hope that we can do what needs to be done in America so that Mother can be liberated and God can really feel that this world belongs back to Him once again. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, sorry. Let us pray. Our most beloved Heavenly Parent, our precious true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry our mother is there in that detention center in Seoul, Korea. I'm so sorry that we were not able to give Father all of the victories that he was trying to accomplish all of those years. I really pray that from now, America can become the nation that shines brightly, the elder son who stands up and starts to take its responsibility and liberate the father and the mother who have been working so hard to change this world. The world is in such a mess, Heavenly Parent. And yet, our true parents are still alive. Our father is alive through a mother who is on this earth, and she's in that prison. So we have to do what's necessary. And all of us here, we're determined that we're going to do that. And thank you for using Africa to bring this kind of information to all of us, as our mother went from country to country and sacrificed everything and taught us what we should and shouldn't be doing. Thank you so much for these precious brothers and sisters gathered here this morning who have the ability in their hand to change America and to change the entire world. Thank you so much for allowing us to join together today. Thank you for persevering and loving us in spite of the fact that we have disappointed you so many times. We love you, Heavenly Parent. We love you, true Father, Mother. We love you so much. And we will do not just our best, but we will put our life on the line and make sure that the victory is won by our Heavenly Parent. I offer this prayer as a representative of all brothers and sisters here this morning, Heavenly Parent, with a deep, deep gratitude while attending our Holy Mother Han, in the name of Kathy Rigney of a Central Blessed Family. Adieu.